What's going on, everybody? It's IFBB Pro Josh Jefferson, and I'm here with the boys. It's weird not calling myself the Muslim Muscle, but I keep getting told I gotta say IFBB Pro. So, here with the boys, Tom Schuster and Anson Robbins. Guys, drop your Instagrams and where people can find you. Let's do that first before we have to get into that later.
For sure. So for me, you can find my YouTube at Coach Tom Schuster or on Instagram at Tom Schuster Fit.
For me, everything is just at Anson Robbins underscore bodybuilding.
Bet everyone's got codes. If you need to find the codes, go on our Instagrams. You'll find them there. We're not doing the whole plug shit. I'm not plugging one company and then you guys have to sit through it. Fuck that. This is the Anti-Optimal Podcast. We are getting into it. We are starting with bro science shit that works. Because realistically, all science is great, but bro science is better anyway. So
Damn straight.
let's get into it. First and foremost, you guys talked about this on your podcast the other day. Fish thins the skin. It's bro science, right? We've all heard, yo, at the end of contest prep, you got to switch to fish. Fish thins the skin. Blah blah blah. The shit fucking works, and
Yeah.
I'm willing to die on that hill. Now, I think that the best way to go about this is that we fight both ways. We fight the way that it doesn't work, and we also explain why it does. So, Tom, I'll let you go first. Why do you think that it's kind of overrated to say like fish thins the skin?
Why I think it's overrated. So first, I think there's a lot of people who still get very shredded and absolutely show up with extremely thin skin without necessarily having fish within a part of their routine, which goes to show that it's not like the end all be all in order to actually like have show up with like a very conditioned physique. So that would be my argument against it, is that there's plenty of examples of individuals who didn't necessarily put it as part of their routine and still managed to show up in really, really good condition.
Yeah, 100% agree. Anson, what's your opinion on it?
In that same regards of like how it doesn't work in cases,
Yeah.
I'm living proof for that because I did two contest preps where for the last 10 weeks I was on nothing but white fish and I wasn't shredded. So there's that.
So this time around, I remember in the podcast you guys were talking about it. You are currently thinning the skin, right? You switched
Yeah,
up.
a little bit. I
So
got two shrimp meals in out of four meat meals.
that's another one. The fact that we're now that shrimp is whitefish.
Yes.
Probably
Right? That
one of
wasn't
my
the case
favorite.
for years.
Yo, that's probably one of my favorite things in the world. I'm not gonna lie and say that I don't replace ground turkey for shrimp on a pretty common basis. I love seafood. I live on the water. I've always loved seafood. Y'all have heard the stories about the sushi. I'm not going to ever turn around and deny seafood. So having fish is top tier for me. Having shrimp specifically is top tier. Now I'm a
Mm.
fight against it because I got the most shredded I think I've ever been in my life. Um, a whopping 6 weeks ago, and we didn't have one fish meal in there. There was
Mm.
not shrimp,
Yeah.
there's not tilapia, nothing. Um, Now to fight for it, I've never got as lean as fast as when I did have tilapia in. When I was in those 2 weeks in between Junior Nats and Universe, my food was bare minimum. Every meat meal was tilapia, or it was either
Yeah.
swai fillet.
Yeah.
I forget they call it something else in Canada.
Yeah. They call it something weird.
It
I don't
starts
know
with a
what it is
B.
exactly.
Yeah, it does.
Barramundi.
Yeah, Baramu. Oh no, I
No,
like
that's
that
different.
one. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Basa fillet.
Awesome.
Basa,
Right.
Basa. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, so they call it Basa there, and I always wondered what the fuck that was. But swai was just cheaper sometimes, so I would go to BJ's and grab some swai fish, and I never got as lean as fast. I dropped 25 pounds in fucking 10 days. Now there was a lot of other reasons as to why that happened,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
to fight for it, I'm gonna say I've never gotten lean as fast, and also I think that there's a merit to when your digestion is going really, really well.
Mm.
The food is just filtering through you. Your metabolism gets a little bit faster. Now, this is complete bro science, right? Your metabolism is going to get a little bit faster because you're hungry more. And when you're
Lower
hungry,
blood sugar too.
yeah, and when you're hungry, you got to
Yeah.
find shit to do,
Yeah.
right? Like you're either going to find something to occupy your brain, which your brain is going to burn glucose as well. You go for a walk to just ignore the hunger for a while. The further away from food you are, the better. There's you find little ways to kind of get the fuck out. And anyone who's ever been a sushi connoisseur, I know that if me, Tom, and Anson get together and go out for an all-you-can-eat sushi, we'll probably put
Man.
out of business.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It'd be
100%.
ridiculous.
But if you sit there and you go and have like a monster sushi meal, generally you could eat your next meal an hour or two later. You're
Yeah.
not going to be sitting there like, oh my God, that was so much. Maybe if you did every single piece with rice and avocado and, sauce on there, different story. But like if I just got some sashimi, shit's flying through me. I'm going to feel fantastic. And in an hour or so, I'm going to be like, all right, I'm ready to eat the next meal, even though I just had 150 pieces of sushi and hella mercury poisoning. So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
definitely why I fight for it.
I would say I agree based on personal experience. So when I worked with Blue Taylor way back in like 2022, he was like my second ever coach, and we pulled into like a mini cut whenever we first started together. And the first one of the first things he did was he replaced all my meals with like whitefish or egg whites. Egg whites was my first meal, and then it was whitefish for like the next 5 meals, and even my whey meals got replaced with like whitefish. And that's one thing that I noticed immediately, like protein equated, calories equated. As soon as the whey went out for whitefish, my body weight just started, spiraling down. Whereas, like, okay, I lost like 5 pounds in like one day. At like one point, he was like, "Yeah, I need you to go get like a really dirty cheat meal today." And that was like the language he used. But he was like, "Yeah, I need you to go get a burger, fries, and like even if you want to grab a pizza, that's fine with me at that point." So I would say, yeah, I think based on bro science alone, we could talk about the collagen and how that's excluded out of fish, and only has certain types of collagen in there that isn't necessarily accounted for what builds your actual skin as a whole. But for the most part, I think it's just anecdotal evidence of individuals who end up making that switch have a faster rate of loss as well, and that's personal experience as well as individuals I've worked with who have been like, hey, I want to try out the whitefish stuff, and we switch them over to whitefish and they just start dropping instantly as well.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I'd fight for it just because it's simple. It's lower calories. It works. All that stuff you said is true. But at the end of the day, if I can put someone on 200 grams of white fish for 4 meals instead of 150 or 165, whatever it equates to in chicken, it's going to be a bit more enjoyable for the person. And I do think
Yeah.
there is something to optimizing digestion, like Josh was talking about. So I find white fish digests pristine for almost everyone. I've never met someone who had a problem digesting white fish.
Yeah, that's the
I,
thing.
I don't know if this is my mom was just a little off with something like this, but like when y'all got sick, you know how like most families, you have soup or something like that. Tom, I'm sure that you guys had like a spicy soup to like sweat it out.
Yeah,
Yo,
100%.
I would have a spicy soup with like tilapia or some sort of fish
Hmm.
Mm,
because it was gonna digest faster. And it almost felt like, you're getting food in to fuel yourself a little bit, but like it doesn't sit on your stomach very hard. So like
yeah.
I remember my mom would do like a chicken broth soup with hella Tabasco in there. And then like it would be either tilapia or cod or something along those lines. There were very often times where she would go to, McDonald's and get like a fillet of fish and just rip the breading off it and then just put it in the soup. I don't think that was the right move, but like I remember doing that very often as a kid, and it always worked. Like I never sat there afterwards and was like, "Oh my God, I'm so full, I can't digest this." Like, never had a problem with digesting it.
Mm.
So, definitely want to mention that. Now, getting into one that kind of stemmed off this, the burger and fry pre-contest, peak week move. Um, I was against it forever. I thought that it was the dumbest thing in the world. And then over the course of the last peak week, I had 7 burgers.
Damn, that's
We had
crazy.
we had a Five Guys burger one night, and then 2 nights in a row, 3 burgers of like 93 7 ground beef and just normal burger buns. I think I posted that on like my days
Yeah.
leading up to the show, but like I know for a fact, Anson, you've definitely done it in like a refeed scenario too. Again, the saturated fat in there fucking works.
Yeah.
Whether it's a matter of maybe it gives you a little bit of relief from the from the diet itself allows you to just have a little bit of freedom, whether it's the actual, the micronutrients in the ground beef that you're not getting on a normal basis, the digestibility of it, or just the fact that, like, genuinely having a burger at night sits in your stomach better than you eating, fuck, what would 3 burgers equate to in rice for carbs? That's
A lot.
400
Yeah, depends
grams
what
of
bun, but
rice,
yeah.
whatever. Like, that's probably not going to sit in you quite as easily as those 3 burger buns would. So having the night before, and I know there's going to be, Tom, you're probably going to pull it out, some science behind this that makes a lot of sense, but it fucking works, and people turn around and try and bash it. And I remember even going into one of these shows, I forget the competitor, and whoever it is, I hope that you don't take offense to this, if you do watch this, but I remember someone saying, I hope that I go against a coach that gives me a burger, gives their client a burger and fries the night before a show, because I'm gonna fucking kick their ass. All right, well, maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I don't know who it was. I can't remember off the fucking top of my head. I wish I could. But
I've heard
sometimes
people
that
say that too.
motherfucker wins. I'm pretty sure Jordan Hutchinson did it not once, but twice. One time didn't look the best. Second time he looked
Yeah.
fucking Philly or whatever it was. So, hey, there's merit to it. So, Tom, Anson, I'll let you guys run the table on that one. What you guys think? And then if you guys got one after that, definitely throw it out there.
So I got a question. Are we talking like homemade burger or a
Right.
fast food burger? Because I think that's an important distinction.
Big difference.
I, I think fast food burger is the one that everyone talks about.
Okay,
Right.
we'll go with that one.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so I think if we're talking about fast food burger from arguing for it, is that what we're doing or arguing against it?
we're gonna do both. Just go through
Okay.
it.
Okay, for sure. So for it, I would say for one, it's like a very low food volume. It offers a lot of saturated fat, simple carbs. The fries offers potassium as well, and there's probably going to be a heavy hit of sodium within that meal as well. So that, that's kind of like a perfect combination of what we're trying to get whenever we're looking for maximum fullness, because you fill out intramuscular triglyceride stores. But people argue that, but at the same time, I would say that the amount of intramuscular triglyceride stores that you actually have isn't that much. You could probably fill it up with like 50 grams of carbs, 50 grams of fat over the course of a day. It's not like you need a necessarily fat load an individual to fill out your intramuscular triglyceride stores. But I think what makes more sense is because your body has been so accustomed to using fat as a fuel source throughout the entire course of prep, because we've gone through phases where we're using high doses of clenbuterol and stuff like that. Your body is still in quote unquote fat utilization mode. So we're essentially switching our body to using more fat for fuel, which allows us to then store more of those carbs intramuscular as actual glycogen as a whole. So it's almost like it gives you a carb sparing sort of effect that people talk about. So I would say that's arguing for it in terms of like when we really need to fill someone out, it makes a lot of sense from that aspect. Now arguing against it is, we saw what happened with Jordan Hutchinson. It's like, okay, well, if we're getting a fast food burger, if it's out of state, and even in his case out of country, it's like, okay, it's going to be completely different sources than what you're using on your feeds throughout the course of prep. So it makes things unpredictable in what it can actually do to your body, especially if you're getting like McDonald's your entire prep, and then you get Five Guys like the night before your show. Like a double cheeseburger at McDonald's is very different than a double cheeseburger at Five Guys. Like that shit is very different size. So you got to account for those things as well, which makes it a little bit less consistent and a little bit harder to predict, which is the reason why I think a lot of people shit on that approach, is because everybody feels like peak week needs to be the super specific calculated thing. But the way that I approach things, and the way that like good coaches like Joe approaches things as well, is you use your eye. It's not always a case of like going by the book. It's like you go by what's actually happening right in front of you.
100%.
Yeah.
Tom, have you had multiple people where you've just gotten them for a peak?
Yeah, I've gone two, yeah.
So, funny enough, I've peaked more people than I put on stage for a full contest run.
Really? That's
Yeah.
interesting.
So I've had 3 peaks that I've done where I got somebody 4 weeks out, a guy who just decided he wanted to do a show at 21 days out, and a girl who was just did a show. Her coach was botching the in between, and I took over at 10 days out. All three of them, I could tell you there was not a singular spreadsheet used. I didn't
Yeah.
like normally I use a spreadsheet. I turn around, I have a diet plan. I can tell you I didn't have a singular fucking thing. I had the girl because she was 10 days out and she was already pretty fucking lean. She was sending me pictures 4 times a day.
Yeah.
Um, the 21 days out, he was sending me pictures every day, and he also came to the gym, so he was posing every day. The 4 weeks out one, he was sending me pictures like twice a week, and then as we got closer and closer, it got more. But there were good points where I was either sending the entire meal plan that morning or meal by meal. This is exactly what you're doing, because like you said, it's not a matter of sitting there and saying, "Oh, I'm going to use, this data, and it's going to be 400 grams of carbs in this type of fucking, time." Like, nah, bro, I'm looking at you, and it's like, oh, that's still flat. All right, we're going to increase the food. Oh, that doesn't
100%.
look right. We're going to try this. And 10 days is not a lot of time, but like the 21 days, I was able to fucking manipulate water at the end. Now, homeboy did not read the plan when I said bring 150 grams of raw weight rice and cook that,
Mm.
bring that, and he
Yeah.
brought 150 grams of cooked weight rice. Um, so the peak on show day got a little fucked, but it was Long Island, so it was close. So I wound up just bringing hella rice cakes, and we were good to go. So, but just a merit to your point of like it shouldn't be a set thing where it's all these data sheets and these calculations. It's you got to look at the person, and hopefully you ran something similar in prep at some point.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
Exactly.
we turned around and we saw that it was a burger and fries, or even like a sushi refeed, right? A sushi refeed could very quickly be switched over to a burger and fry,
Yeah.
especially if you're in a new area.
Yeah.
Because guess what? You don't know how that quality of sushi is going to be. I think we
100%.
talked about it on it might have been the podcast with Joe talking about with the parasites,
Yeah.
right? Like parasites living on the skin of fish. Imagine a day out, you get a fucking parasite because you had a
That's
Yeah.
awful. Yeah. That's
so
the unpredictability of it.
yeah, so the burger and fry might be the better option. Also, just because I had the Five Guys, I haven't had fast food in I don't know, fucking 4 years until I had the Five Guys during peak week. Yeah, the size of a Five Guys burger is significantly smaller than it used to be, but it's still a fucking monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still
100%.
big. It's smaller than it used to be, but it's still fucking big. So, and so I didn't mean to take your turn on that one, but
No, you're
I
good.
just had to share that stuff.
No, that was good. So for it, I think that, just a lot of the stuff that you guys touched on is really what I can believe myself. The biggest thing is going to be that stress factor, like you're talking about, because how many people going into a peak week are just stressed out of their minds? Honestly, anything you can do as a coach to reduce someone's mental stress is really going to be more beneficial than anything. Sleep, also, like Josh said, towards the end of the night, probably going to have pretty good sleep after a burger and fries, right? If that's your last meal of the day, there's that going into it. I really think as long as the person can digest it well, which I think as long as you're not eating like an asshole and getting 45 pounds of cheese and mayo. So in other words, it's controlled. You tell them what to get on it. This is basically just meat, maybe fat-free cheese, maybe not, and a bun, and then pretty regular plain Jane fries. A lot of salt, potassium, like Tom mentioned. On paper, there's nothing really wrong with it. And it's dense too. So it's not going to be like a million grams of rice, like Josh was saying. On paper, there's really nothing wrong with it. And then it just comes down to, in reality, what you're seeing with the person. Okay, how frequently have we done this leading up to the peak? Did it grow great every single time then? Okay, well, then we can probably assume it will, but obviously we still keep an eye on it this time around. If for whatever reason, let's say you're 2 days out and it goes wrong, it doesn't digest that, because Jordan's example, completely different environment, completely different food source. Because I know that the McDonald's, for one thing, are very different country to country. Like
Yeah.
it's basically, it might as well be going from McDonald's to In and Out to Five Guys if you go to three different countries with McDonald's. They're very, very different. So any big shift of environment like that, maybe you would call an audible to do something kind of similar. I'm a big, big fan of the homemade burger and fries. I think that's the way to do it just because there's more control in the variables. But, how are you going to really get a homemade burger in your hotel room? You could get a George Foreman grill or air fryer or something, but some clients are not going to be willing to do things like that. So that's a whole nother conversation.
I'll teach
That's
you
where we would
how.
kind of, was that?
I'll teach you how in a 3-quart fucking air fryer. I'll tell
Oh
you.
yeah, bro. I'm
Yeah,
I'm a, I'm a wizard with an air fryer. I'm right there with you. But
100%.
that's a situation where we could kind of do the at home burger and fries for the majority of the refeeds and prep, and then we kind of take a chance. Let's say I would want somebody to a show to be there 2, 3 days out. So around then we'd trial a burger and fries there, see how it goes. If it goes well, continue. Um, for against it, I think a lot of people just probably don't need that much. If you're a bigger bodybuilder, I guess, it doesn't necessarily, like, I'm sure some women's classes as well, but generally speaking, like if you're a larger classic physique athlete or a larger open bodybuilder, or if you're just someone who runs crazy flat, I guess as well, that's kind of the situation where I would think that would come into play more. Like if you're 170 pounds and it's your first show, you probably don't need a burger and fries. You know what I'm saying? It just really depends. I think a lot of people probably don't need that much food to be that dense going into peak week. It just depends on the person.
100%. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. I think it's the main thing I would say there is like I would never use a burger and fry from like a fast food restaurant as like my pre-planned like sort of peak week strategy going into it where I'm like, okay, we did this all throughout prep and then this is what we're going to do at the refeed schedule. It's more so like somebody's
Right.
body is getting away from them and they're just burning
Exactly.
through the food. Like if they weigh themselves on like Friday evening and they're like 2 pounds lighter than what they woke up flat on Friday morning, then yeah, I'm probably going to put in a hefty amount of food. And I think that's where, from a food volume aspect, that's the strategy that makes the most
Yeah.
sense is to go with like something super calorically dense to, and not even like super carbohydrate dense either, because I think that's also a situation. If somebody's burning through food, you need a decent amount of fats to have that
Right.
stick until like the next morning as well. Especially, I'm not a big person who enjoys feeding a lot of people a ton of food on show day morning either. So I'd rather have a large meal that night before so that we
Right.
can, drip feed food until they get on stage versus, plugging in two huge feedings and then worrying about person's like waist control and stuff like
Yes.
that at prejudging too.
It's kind of like a nice oh shit button to have
Yeah,
in your back pocket.
exactly. 100%.
I'll tell you
But
this.
I'll definitely trial it, like in their refeeds leading into to peak
Yeah.
week as well. Like, yeah, one of the main things I like to see on a person is what they look like flat as it could be. I also want to know what they look like spilled as well. I want to see like the two extremes of that, and if we have to throw in a burger and fry to get them to spill at like 4 weeks out, just so I can see what that starts to look like, where the body parts that start to fade as well. That gives me like a good gauge of okay, can this person handle that much food? Okay, well then maybe that's something that we're going to be ending up doing on peak week, but it's never something where I'm planning on
Mm.
doing it anyway, because I think the most predictable way of going about it is just like the clean whole foods that you've been feeding somebody throughout the course of the entire prep.
100%. This so it actually led to two funny things. While I was at Junior USA's, there was a coach downstairs, and I was talking to him. When you're at a hotel that's not the host hotel, and you see the biggest motherfucker at the continental breakfast, and you're like, that guy's got to be doing something here. So
Yeah.
I went up and I talked to him, and he's like, I was like, oh yeah, where's your guy? Like, what's he competing in? He goes, yo, he's at McDonald's, and I go, what? Like 7 a.m. shows at fucking 9, right? It's like, oh yeah, he's at McDonald's. I'm having him go get some flapjacks and some or what do they call them there? Hotcakes.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Have
hotcakes.
them go get hotcakes and hash browns. And I was like right now, like before the show, and he goes, yeah, man, it's how we do it every time. And I sat there and I was
Mm.
like, what? Like
Yeah.
for a second, I was like, the fuck? And then you think about it a little more, and you're like, yo, carbs, fats, like that's probably going to be the only meal this kid eats for the entire morning. It's 7 a.m., so he's got 2 hours to digest it. Like,
Okay.
and it's enjoyable. So any stress that he had going into it probably alleviated. He didn't have to think about like, oh shit, what's this gonna do? It's like, hey, listen, they do this before every show. It
Yeah.
probably makes him feel really good. As long as I mean, obviously they trialed it before, so his waist control was fine. And kid really he didn't have the physique to turn around and say, like, oh, he looked great, like, oh my god, it was incredible. But he didn't look bad. He wasn't sitting there distended as all hell. I mean, I think this brings us into another one. I know I said I was going to let you guys run one.
Yeah,
Um,
run it.
but shit, like in the optimal community, they talk about having, the perfect plan and your coach got to know everything.
Hmm.
Personally, and I'm sure you guys agree, to a degree, this shit is by the seat of your fucking pants. You have an idea, you have a
Yeah.
direction, you have a goal, but sometimes shit just don't go the way you thought it was gonna go, and it's hey, this is no fuck situation. We're just gonna have to adjust XYZ and get it there. So I just kind of want to hear your guys' opinion on it and give an example of a time where you've just had to like throw shit at the wall, see what sticks in the middle of, I don't want to say like a peak week, but of a prep in
Mm.
general.
So I can, speak to this. I think I think knowledge is for sure important, but I think, having the knowledge of every single aspect of human physiology is not necessary to be a great coach, nor should it necessarily be standard for everybody to know every single thing about human physiology in order to be a good coach. Because for me personally, when I pay a coach, I'm paying them for their body of work and the results that they've gotten. It's not necessarily what they say on their Instagram or what content they produce or anything like that. It's more so the body of work that the individuals produce. So with that being said, it's also why are you hiring a coach? There's a lot of individuals out there who will hire, certain names out there because they are the people who talk about the complicated, inner details of like how certain things work and like massive peptide protocols of like multiple different compounds and like, oh, this is the phasic cycle of what we need to do in this phase, health phase, every phase. Oh dude, that's so cute. I'm sorry, I got distracted by Anson's dog. Yeah,
They
She
only,
was looking
they
at my
only know
foot.
one fucking thing. They only know
yeah,
one thing about a
exactly.
goddamn thyroid.
100%, man. But yeah, I think some individuals do want that level of complexity as a client. So those are the good coaches for them. But it's also you can't expect great results from a individual if they haven't ever produced great results with themselves or anyone else that they've ever
Yes.
worked with as well. I think that's the main hang up is that you want these people, or I think these individuals who are like super into the weeds want these individuals to be like the top level coaches that produce the greatest results, but it's just not how it ends up playing out in the real world.
Absolutely.
Do you have an example of a time in prep where you just had to like throw the shit that you knew knowledge wise out the window and just say, fuck it, we're doing this and see what happens?
100%, dude. I mean, for my client Yane, who competed earlier this year, he was like a men's physique guy. We did the Miami show, and for him on his peak week, I'm usually an individual that likes to reduce water. I don't ever pull it out, but like for an example, I may start Monday out with like 6 liters. Maybe that Wednesday we pull down to 4 liters, and then the Thursday we pull down to like 3 liters, and then maybe 1 or 2 liters the day before the show. But with him, when we started that water reduction process, it was like, okay, he's starting to look like a lot worse. So then we started, adding water in. We went back to baseline. I was like, oh shit, this is looking, really good. So that added even more water in, which is like, nobody says add more water in for an individual before a show. And before this case, I would have been like, that's a pretty bad strategy on a peak week. But every time we added in another liter, he just kept looking fuller, looked better. His weight went up. And I was like, man, we have like a lot of room to play with to the point where Friday, the day before the show, dude, we did 9 liters of water and he looked fucking
Wow.
crazy. But for me, I'm always a person who's like, first line is going to be, I'm going to reduce water with individuals and see what happens. And for him, I was like, this is starting to go south. So I needed to pull the other direction. And we pulled the other direction hard and it turned out great.
Mm.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of merit to it. And like everyone's body's different. And some people, I've actually found this too. When you turn around to all of a sudden increase water, and there's someone who kind of, I don't want to say restricted water, but just in general, their water was a little low. I literally have a text from somebody today. He was drinking 4 liters of water a day. I was like, yo, I really need you to get this up to 6 liters of water. We're really early in this prep. I want to have this as a baseline.
Mm.
Text me this morning, yo, I look double the size. He was like, weight's the same, but I look double the size. It's like, yeah, some people just need more water. Bigger the body, the
Yeah.
more water you're gonna need. So again, Edison, didn't mean to cut you off there, but like
No, you're good.
that shit fucking works. That's a big one.
Yeah, no,
100%.
it's perfect that you did because I don't have anything like that personally. Both of my first preps were extremely linear. Like I was just dieted down with zero refeeds for 19 weeks in a row, and then I guess he threw whatever stuck at the wall after that. And then this prep, we've not had anything crazy happen yet. We've been refeeding pretty regularly. No oh shit moments that I can think of right now. It's been pretty smooth. And then as far as like my actual coaching within itself, I'm so young into it. I've not had an opportunity for that. I guess like the closest thing that I could think of is I got a guy in prep right now who I thought that I was going to have to bring his food lower. And then out of nowhere, his body just started burning through food. And I had to give him 4 back to back high days just to stop him from dropping weight. Had to add fats at the end of the day, which for where he was at, I wasn't expecting that to happen, but it did. So I threw it at it and it worked.
That's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing first and foremost for him.
Bro, I'm looking at his high days I'm giving him and I'm like, you motherfucker, I am so jealous of
Yeah.
you. Like,
Like I first and foremost, I can only imagine what your 2 high days are like because I know
they're
both
not
of
that
you guys
crazy.
have. Let's put it this way, right? I am 6 foot 6'1", 270 pounds right now. Um, Tom, I know how much you were eating at one point because you sent me the diet, and I was like, "Yo, try this if it's really
Yeah,
hard."
his probably
Yeah.
got wild. Yeah.
And so you were
100%.
eating a daily 7,000 calories, so I can only imagine your high days are somewhere fucking ridiculous.
It's like
But they're
5.
really high.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
5.
my caloric need for food is not that high for whatever fucking reason. Um,
You're sufficient.
Yeah.
yeah, it sounds really nice. I would like to eat more. But just in general, like having a high day is definitely something good. And I guess we could kind of end this off with a little training one. Um, this is one of my favorite things I think I ever heard growing up. Lightweights get cut, heavyweights build mass. And to a
Toning.
degree, I agree with it.
Okay, in what way?
Okay.
All right, so the idea of heavyweight is heavy to the relative person, right?
Hmm.
So what is heavy for me might not be heavy for you guys. It might be really heavy for you guys. So the idea of saying I'm going to put 6 plates on something and I'm going to do 6 reps as a max set. Yes, I am closer to the proximity of failure. Could that build more mass? Yes. But when you get
Hmm.
into a set that's a 15 to 20 repper and you're still going to failure, that weight's not technically heavy. But I do believe, and I have seen, and there's more detail. When you're
Hmm.
cutting and you turn around, you did an entire offseason of higher rep sets that went all the way there. And you look at, either your glutes or your legs in general. I don't think anyone should really be doing like super high rep fucking bicep curls, but like you're going to have a leaner body part because I think the muscle has to a degree burned more intramuscular triglycerides. You think about
Yeah.
sirloin steak and you see like the marbling in there. To a degree, I believe that you burn some of that. Again, bro science to the max. I think I heard about that from Seth Morosi way back.
Hmm.
That
So
like,
I
go
have
ahead.
one point on this. I don't know if I believe that low reps build mass, high reps, etch in the cuts, but I 1,000,000% believe that the lower reps build the density and the higher reps build the fullness and the roundness. I 1,000,000% believe that.
I agree.
So I will argue for Josh actually because somebody came on my podcast. His name is Kyle Baxter, super smart
Love
individual, but
that.
he talked about body spot reduction in terms of like body fat.
Oh,
Now, if
okay.
you think about this, it's like, okay, well, you're getting more reps for a specific area that's going to generate more blood flow to that
And the
specific
heat, right?
tissue. And if you do have certain compounds in your system, like clenbuterol, like growth hormone, like different things that are going to liberate fatty acid, it almost makes sense that the areas where the blood is going to the most is going to get the benefit out of those specific compounds. So like,
Right.
I would say there's some maybe even scientific merit to that argument for sure. And if we think about the low rep argument, okay, well, in that case, I would say it's easier for people to reach failure at like a 6 rep set which is hence why maybe more people notice more muscle growth versus, yo, Josh, you're a fucking beast. You can reach failure if it's like 30 reps. But some individuals out there, if it's like a 30 rep set, they start feeling that burn at like rep 25. They're going to rack it because they don't have the mindset like you. Versus if it's a 6 rep set, it's like cut and dry. You get that, last rep or you don't. Like the burn lactic acid and stuff like that isn't accounted for within that actual, that within the actual set. So I think it makes, some sense from that aspect for sure.
100%. First and foremost, love Coach Bax. Dude's a G. And I
100%.
remember when he first started talking about the whole spot reduction fat burning thing. And I asked him about it. He was like, yo, the context of it is super important. It was like
100%.
there's so much to this that like you have to be lean enough to start off with. You have to have a very low blood glucose, and you have to bring the body temperature up in that area. So it's not like it's going to be, going in and training glutes to failure on a 7 rep set.
Yeah.
You're doing like sets of 50.
Yeah.
Like you're doing
100%.
hip thrusts before you do the stairmaster to burn that glute fat off. And that's kind of where I almost lean back into the idea of like higher reps burden that fat. Also, I remember sitting there and, again, that same prep where it's junior nats to universe. It was one of my last 2 leg days, and I went in and I did abductors, and I did 2 sets of 50 reps. My glutes were on fire afterwards. Next day, glutes were more etched in. Like the causation created the result, right? Some whatever the fucking terms are. I'm my brain's fried. I train,
Yeah.
but it really does all come together. With that said, we got about a minute left, so I just want to say this was a lot of fun. We're
Yeah.
gonna I think we do more training ones next time.
Hell
This
yeah.
is a kind of trial podcast for everyone who's watching. If you guys liked it, comment below, share it, let us know what bro myths you want us to go through. Or if you even have like optimal science shit you want us to go through and kind of just bash. The only shit, if you even want to invite a certain someone on and see if he'll get on the podcast,
Yeah.
from a fucking prompt, we'll do that too. So, with that said, for Josh, for Tom, for Anson, we're signing out. Thank you guys. Thanks for coming on. Peace.